to Build a Better Career, the show that helps you build a better career so you can create a better life. I'm your host, Diane Bogino. It's a pleasure to welcome my guests today, Brittany and Nick Perslin. The Perslins own a telemedicine company called No Limits Medical. No Limits Medical is a company specializing in hormone optimization, sexual health, weight loss, hair restoration, and anti-aging solutions. Nick is a retired law enforcement officer with over 20 years of experience and is the CEO of the company. And Brittany is a nurse practitioner with over 20 years of experience and is the chief clinical officer of the company. Brittany and Nick, welcome to the show today. It's a delight to have you.
Well, thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, absolutely. Now, there's something I've been curious about ever since you started your company, and that is, how did the name No Limits Medical come about?
We were searching for a name, and we didn't want something that was cookie cutter or like a lot of the other medical groups out there that are doing what we do. And we kind of thought, well, what is it that we do different than everyone else? And the thing that we do different is everything. We do everything. We don't really put limits on the medical care that we can provide. If we can provide it, we do provide it. And that is the main difference between us and other HRT, wellness, longevity medical companies.
Right. So, we wanted to stand out from your average HRT company. And by doing that, we opened up the amount of products and services that we have for patients. So that's where No Limits kind of came in. Hey, we have no limits on the type of HRT and telemedicine care that we can provide for patients.
So, Nick, you were a police officer, and Brittany, you were a nurse. What made you start this business?
Well,
we're not sure.
She was already working. She was already working in the space for years, and I have been on HRT myself since I was 36. So, we're 18-ish years in with me, and I like to learn about the things that I'm doing. So I knew quite a bit about the male HRT side of things. And a lot of the peptide side. So after she had been in it for a few years, we were just talking every day about what the business model looks like and how that particular company was not really serving their patients appropriately. They were doing very, very minimal blood work with a blood spot kit that was really, really inaccurate. They weren't providing medications that they should have been providing or could have been providing, instead just passing off a medication that they were getting cheaply from a pharmacy that they were doing business with. So they just were not doing it the way we thought it should be done. And we just decided that we were just going to go off and do it on our own.
Yeah. And, my experience is I spent a lot of time in emergency medicine. I spent a lot of time in pediatrics before that. Feels like a lifetime ago. But I've been working in hormone optimization for at least 6 or 8 years.
Before we leave, I do want to talk to you a little bit about your past careers and what advice you might give someone. For example, Nick, in your case, what type of person does it take that wants to be a police officer? How should they go about building their career? Tell us a little bit about how you did it because you were an officer for 20 years, correct?
At 24 and some change. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if I would advise it anymore. The job is very different than when I started. I enjoyed it. But the way it is today, I would never say, hey, yeah, you should go out and be a police officer. But I also know that nobody would ever stop me from being a police officer. So if that's just in your heart and in your head and that's who you are, then you should do it. But be the right guy. Don't get into it for the look at me, the badge and the uniform and the car and driving around and look at me. If that's your attitude, you are not going to last at all. Just be the kind of person that wants to go out there, help other people, and be a part of an organization that you can be proud of. The camaraderie there is worth $1 million to me. I loved every minute of it, and it wasn't always just the job; it was the people I worked with, for sure.
Mm-hmm. If a person's considering it now, typically education-wise, do they go right from high school to the police academy?
Potentially, there are departments you can do that in smaller areas. Most of the larger metropolitan areas require a 2 or 4 year degree. to get
didn't know that.
into the basic
I didn't either.
BLET. But if you're in some of the smaller rural areas, yes, you can go from high school to law enforcement.
And then once you're in, you could transfer to another department?
Yeah, yeah.
Or
If you once you're certified, basic law enforcement training certified, you can jump departments if you want. So if you're in one county and a couple counties over pays more, and you have a good reputation, you can get hired on, at a different.
Mhm.
And guys do that, they'll start one place and they'll move around based on pay and benefits and what the atmosphere is like. Sheriffs are politicians, so some are better than others, and
Yeah.
sometimes guys just don't fit in and they just want to make a change and they'll go to a PD or a state agency or something like that.
Okay, one last question for you. I get this all the time where somebody comes to, um, they might be studying chemical engineering and are looking for a job in a hotel. And I'm like, what are you doing? So where can a young person go for their first jobs if they do want to get into law enforcement? What would be some place they could get their feet wet, so to speak?
Well, it depends on what stage of life you're in, but let's just say you're a fairly young person. A lot of the agencies will have a program that you can be a part of, including ride-alongs. I mean, anybody, any citizen, if you're cleared, you don't have a significant criminal history, you can go down to your local police department or sheriff's office and say, "Hey, I'd like to sign up for a ride-along," and they'll get you on a schedule, and you'll do a shift with somebody, and you can kind of see what goes on, at least firsthand.
Wow, great information. Thank
And
you
they
for
also
that.
have some pretty good recruiting officers in most departments now, that will really help you to make a decision whether this is for you. They'll go through the pay, they'll go through all of that stuff, but they'll send you on a ride along. They'll let you talk to some of the guys, and really they don't want somebody that's not going to work out, right? So
Oh, sure.
they're as careful as they can be as to weeding people out that they don't feel are going to make it. And it behooves both sides to take some time and figure out, hey, is this for me, and is this person right for us? They do a pretty good job of that these days.
Great. And Brittany, I know a lot about your journey, but you, you worked in a children's hospital, worked all kinds of shifts. Tell us a little bit about if somebody's interested in nursing, how to get
Yeah,
started.
so, nursing is a lot of school. You have to start there. There's really no way around it. Um, I'd always recommend to people that if they're going to go to nursing school, get your RN, BSN. That you're going to have a thousandfold more job opportunities if you have that RN, BSN. And then if you want to go beyond that, then you would choose a specialty. I generally tell people to choose family medicine because it gives you the most broad job opportunities. You learn about children, adolescents, adults, everything. You're not pigeonholing yourself into just pediatrics or just adults or just mental health or whatever. So I have 2 board certifications. One is in family medicine, one is in emergency medicine. Emergency medicine is really my true love. It must be the adrenaline. But I love this because we help people every single day. And that's what I love about it. And I always tell Nick, it doesn't feel like a job. It never feels like a job if you're doing what you love, right? So it doesn't feel like a job to me. I love it. And our patients are so grateful. So anybody that is wanting to, start a business or get into medicine, it's very, very rewarding to be able to help people. Just don't get stuck in that, pharmacology cycle where all you're doing is giving out drugs.
Great. And Brittany, also young people, I know there's a plethora of work they can do while they're learning or trying to decide if this is a career for them in nursing. Hospitals and doctors' offices have a ton of entry-level positions. Is that correct?
Absolutely. My very first job in medicine was working after hours and on weekends in Dr. O'Brien's office, just filing, when they weren't there, so that they had all their stuff ready for the next day when they came into work. And believe it or not, I actually learned a lot, So there's always opportunity for just getting in the door. and then you can talk to people, you can decide what area of medicine, because, you can't know it all. It's too big.
Right.
So you got to kind of decide where your real passion lies, and then you seek more and more opportunities in that particular field. Like for me, it was emergency medicine. Once I got on that track, it was, like gangbusters.
Right. You also worked in a vet's office as well, right?
I
Vet
did.
hospital, right?
That's true. Actually, my first medical job was working veterinary medicine, which I did for about 10 years. So I actually had a lot of medical knowledge by the time I went to nursing school, just because of that experience. So yes, I forgot about that.
Yeah, see, great. So Nick, to your point, what is the best way for someone to get in touch with you if they want to discuss telemedicine and what you offer?
If you come to our website at No Limits Medical, there is a tab on there for a free phone call. You will probably get me, most likely, and I will go over any questions you might have about what the process is for becoming a patient, what it looks like, the services we provide, and just try to answer any questions they might have. I'm not a medical professional, but I know this. I know the system and our process. So that's 90% of the questions you get. People just don't understand how to be a patient yet. So I just kind of walk them through it.
I love that, how to be a patient. So you've got your website. I know there is also, you have a video on YouTube. You'll have this one, of course, but there's another one where I've forgotten the lady's name interviewed you, which is very informative, so they can watch that as well. And I'll give you the last word. What would you like to say to our audience today?
If you are looking for healthcare that in your mind you think you're getting, right, but you're not getting from your primary care, then you should come to us.
I like that.
Well, people have this idea that their doctor is going to take care of them. It's going to be a great relationship. Everything's going to be fine. And that's just not the way it is. People walk out of there very disappointed, misinformed, or just don't know what's going on. But with us, you have that level of care. I mean, you can contact us anytime. If you don't understand something, we will explain it to you 10 times, and we do that on the regular. We provide a service that really no one else does. It is true concierge medicine.
And, I'm always happy to talk to people who are interested in getting into medicine. They want to be a nurse, or they're thinking about going to nurse practitioner school. I can give tips, about questions they might have. I've done that for a lot of people. And people, it's always satisfying when people come back to me and they say, oh my gosh, thank you so much for, steering me this way, because this would have been a big mistake. So it's always nice to talk to somebody who's kind of been around there. And Nick does the same for people who are thinking about law enforcement or are just new in law enforcement.
Great. And Brittany, I know you have a string of letters after your name, and you're also a PhD, I should mention, as well. So you really have delved into your profession, and Nick, I know you have as well. Thank you so much for being on the show today. You have given us some great advice, and offering people alternative medicine is a great service. Thank you so much for your time.
Really appreciate you having us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for watching Build a Better Career. We've been speaking with Brittany and Nick Persland, owners of No Limits Medical, a company specializing in hormone optimization, sexual health, weight loss, hair restoration, and anti-aging solutions. I'm your host, Diane Bogino, helping you build a better career so you can create a better life.